It's been a while since you've heard my voice at the start of an episode. It's Jenna here, just letting you know that we're moving to a fortnightly release. That's bi-weekly to our American listeners. Worry not, we're still releasing content on those days for Reflex Save, but on those off weeks, we're releasing additional content to fill your ears with. This is because we're actually demolishing and rebuilding our house, which means we're without a studio. We do appreciate your patience with this, and we hope you look forward to the extra content that we've made for you. And with that, on with the show.
He may die. Probably going to fall unconscious.
Lucky you got the best damn physician in this area to not let you die.
And the 51st as well.
I'm pretty sure you are the highest level cleric in the Dale, so...
I am. Also the lowest.
You don't know what level Mashan's at.
Tell us.
No.
20.
Well, she can jump into the ocean.
If Mashan was 20th level, she would literally be able to solve all the problems that have happened in the Dale.
Any 20th level character could probably solve all of the problems in the Dale.
In the Dale, yeah, specifically. Like this current adventure.
Perhaps she's just really lazy.
She could be.
The Elminster problem.
Well, speaking about being really lazy,
yeah.
Do we want to get to this week's episode of Reflex Save? I don't know if that's the best segue.
You already segued. It's too late.
We're going to take it.
We're going to take it. We don't know if it's the best, but we're going to take it. Do you guys remember what happened last week?
I'm falling.
That is the punctuation point about what happened last week.
We did a lot of things, and Zimma's falling.
We made it
Carnelian is falling.
We made it from a lighthouse island to a cove island, and we did some talking.
There was some deep and meaningful moments.
You turned into a giant owl to have a look, and then...
I got some ice thrown at me.
You got some ice thrown at you because you were spotted courtesy of a natural 20, you were spotted, and
it didn't hurt.
Knocked you out of an owl state. And
but did break my concentration.
Yes, and then you plummeted back to Earth as a kobold.
And unfortunately, you could not give me a good enough argument that you wouldn't have been 200 feet in the air. So I was remembering that episode, and I asked you, do you have any reason why you wouldn't be over 200 feet? And you're like,
no.
Pretty difficult to dispute.
It is, especially when I'm looking for something that's like...
Precisely.
A bird the size of a Boeing 747.
Yeah. So that means that there's a fortunate silver lining here. There's a maximum amount of damage you can take from falling because of terminal velocity. And you've hit that. So you can't take more damage than 20d6.
Thanks, terminal velocity.
Now, you did also, right before you hit the ground, cast Web. That is going to have an effect, but I'm not going to tell you what that effect is until it comes into play.
Alright.
So, I've got 20d6 here. 20 physical d6 to decide your fate. Now, obviously, it needs to do double your amount of... So it has to reduce all of your current hit points to 0 and do your entire hit points again to actually kill you outright without having any chance of having death saving throws. That is capable on the dice that are here. It does require me to roll pretty high.
20d6, average of more than my hit points.
Nah, you'll be fine.
So how many hit points do you have currently for that?
I have 52 hit points.
52 hit points.
The spell did not... the spell did no actual damage to me, but it did strip away the Morning Lord's Blessing.
It stripped the Morning Lord's Blessing, which is 10 points. So you don't have that. And, so then you didn't get any over damage, because it was just breaking your concentration.
Could you just do a quick little ASMR bit while you're holding 20d6?
Yeah, I'm struggling to hold it in two hands, but...
Oh, that's gonna come up nice and juicy.
Perfection.
Okay. So are you ready?
No.
I'm ready for the sound.
Roll anyway.
But do it, yeah. Go on.
Yeah, I want to hear this. Do you need a calculator?
I might. I have calculated. How many hit points did you have?
52.
52. Alright. If you were to... I think that if you had have taken any over damage and you didn't have the Morning Lord's Blessing, you'd be in real rough state by now. I did 83 points of damage.
Ow! Wow!
Whee.
And what I'm going to do, though, not that it's going to really help too much, this would have come into play if it was really going to overkill you, is I was going to take 2d6 and re-roll the highest. So that
the highest 2d6, and
that's the reduction. So you would have taken another 6 less damage. So 77 points of damage as Carnelian falls to the ground, smashes into the web, it all stretches and just impacts on the ground. I'm going to say that his body just rolls out of the web onto the beach, leaving an impact mark where it was, and the web dissipates right away? Does it? Or is it a concentration spell? Or
web is actually... I don't believe web is a concentration spell.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, no, web is concentration, so after I fall unconscious, it'll dissipate.
So immediately this web springs into existence. It's like that cartoon stretch when something hits like a rubber wall, and Carnelian bursts through the other side, and the web starts to dissipate almost as soon as it was cast. As the rest of you arrive at the limp body of a little kobold.
Carnelian! And then I'll immediately go to his aid, bend down. What's the first thing I'm going to do? I'm going to, first of all, spare the dying. I want to stabilize him, make sure that he is, not fully with Callan just yet. And then I will cast Cure Wounds at 4th level.
Ooh, big cures.
Big cures. Definitely not flexing.
And Wodun's going to try and find his instrument. Would it be with you, do you reckon?
Oh, yeah, he would have had all his stuff on him.
Alright. I'm going to try and find the viol or whatever the instrument is at the moment.
It is a violin.
It's probably all smashed up.
Yeah. It's all like, a lot of his gear is like...
Yeah, take your pick. It's in splinters.
Well, not this one anymore.
Sorry to interrupt there, but I think it's worth it. I've got a funky little feature, being a grave cleric, called Circle of Mortality. I think we touched on it a while ago, but it bears repeating because it's pretty clutch, not clutch, but it's pretty cool in this instance. You restore maximum possible HP of each dice instead of rolling. So I don't have to roll, I just choose the highest number when healing spells to a creature with 0 HP.
There you go.
Hey. So if I do a level 4 Cure Wounds, which is 48,
yep.
I just say, you know what? I'm not going to roll the dice. I'm just going to say, they're all 8s.
Yep. You can say they're all 1s if you wanted to.
So 32 plus your wisdom?
Yeah, no, which is 3. So 35 points of healing.
Big chunk of healing all at once.
Damn,
That is
huge.
So if you saw me doing it, Horacio doing it, it would be like him, probably drawing on as much divine power as he's ever done to heal someone else. Like he's done it to recently. He's just been banishing people with that with that level of divine influence, But he's channeled it into healing, and so it would be very, very bright. It would probably be more than just a dim grey glow. It would be very bright grey. It'd almost be like one of those scenes where it's someone's body's just glowing, and to the point where you can barely look at it. All this light's sort of radiating off it. 35 points of healing. That's what it looks like, in case you're wondering.
I think with Horatio taking care of that and Svieta not really knowing what to do with her head, she'll cast one at a time, just in the moment that takes Sanctuary on everyone. Okay. Just at the first level that it is. It'll only last a minute, but it'll make sure anything else coming from range we would have protection from that for just a bit.
Okay, so how does Sanctuary? How does that? I don't think we've seen it cast before.
No, but you ward a creature within range against attack. So until the spell ends, any creature who targets the warded creature with an attack or harmful spell must make a Wisdom saving throw. And if they fail the save, they have to choose a new target or lose the spell.
Damn.
So I'll just cast a silvery aura over everyone at different times, and just not really know what she has to do with her hands, and just watch
she wants to do something.
watch Horatio do his magic.
Quick vibe check for Horatio. Sorry, I had to jump in, but as Sveta's casting that, do I notice the energy? Do I recognise the energy?
I would say though, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're putting down.
Yeah,
it's on the table right now.
Yeah.
But I think that being in such a serious situation with Carnelian being on the brink of death, I honestly think that you may just not have the,
you're
the
probably
time
right.
to focus on
I'm
that.
focusing pretty hard, like doing my biggest heal ever on him. So
If anything, Sveta's more concentrated on you while she's doing this than anything. So.
Okay.
That's the only thing. And look, I would normally give it to you, but I think in this circumstance, it's your training would also take over.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So, Carnelian, the shock of... you felt the impact. That all that pain, all of a sudden... it was just that moment of pain, and you were out. And then you feel that divine energy course through you, and the bones just knit back into place, the flesh covering and scarring over, as if you'd, healed naturally over a long period of time. Your heart that had almost stopped, you feel the blood just suddenly surge through your veins again. And your eyes open, and the first thing you see is the face of Horacio, framed with this green and blue and purple aurora stretching across the sky as you look up at him.
So Carnelian wakes up and just bolts up, looks around, recognizes.
You're okay.
I once again, I think I have you to thank for that.
Well, Callan to thank really, but you fell from incredible height.
Well, I did see which direction she came from, and she was indeed riding a rock. That is the largest bird I've ever seen. And she caused an ice storm, very centralized around me. It knocked me out of my spell. But yeah, she does leave earlier than midnight. It does take her time to get from her island to wherever she needs to cast the aurora from.
So she saw you.
Somehow, but she did see me.
What do you think that means for us?
She might assume that I'm dead.
Well, this might be a bit dead, and he holds out the splintered remains of your violin. You might have to find something else to finish your song, Carnelian.
Oh no, give me that. It's okay. I'll take it from you and take a minute to cast mending on it.
Her skills with wood are unparalleled.
I don't even need any tools.
Incredible.
Carnelian is speechless, both from the seeing his instrument destroyed, but then also seeing it being repaired. He's just unbelievably grateful.
Just like Carnelian's body, just the wood, where the head of the instrument, they all sort of start creaking back together and knitting themselves back into a finished product.
Oh,
Here you go.
Thank you. I have no idea what I'd do without this.
Yeah, I don't know what you would either. You need that for spells, right?
Correct. This is how I channel my magic.
Well, yeah, you definitely need that for tomorrow.
He'll take the violin and pull the bow out of
his leg.
No. So we've got the quiver.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
It doesn't have to store arrows. It can just store things. So you just pull the quiver pull the bow out of that, and test the strings. And I'm gonna start changing the pegs and oh no, it's all.
It's out of tune now.
It absolutely is going to be out of tune after that fall.
Back in tune.
I'll be all night with this.
I like how you've just turned the magical, projectile storing quiver into the ultimate Pelican road case.
Look, anything that can fit in it, Carnelian's going to start putting into it.
Start stuffing it in.
I mean, he also has crossbow bolts that he can store in there as well.
That's true. That's true.
You can store firewood in there.
Good enough,
There you go.
Yeah.
Can I get a quick time check? What time did we say it was?
So it's just
late
past
afternoon?
midnight now.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Because the aurora.
Oh, of
Aurora's
course.
happening.
Of course. My bad.
So, yeah, so it's late at night. You guys are probably pretty exhausted from the day, but you wanted to stay up to do this kind of scouting.
I'll take the first watch. I need to
Are you sure?
You can't go to sleep
I can't go
immediately
to
after
sleep
dying.
I can't go to sleep with the tune like this. It needs to. This needs to get sorted out first.
Do you need anyone to stay?
No. I've got this.
Okay.
If it's all right with you all, I might go to sleep. I'm pretty spent after doing that.
Me too.
Took a big chunk of Kellenvor with me.
Pieces of Callan that you give to people. There you go.
I've only got one box and I've ticked it, so you know.
I mean, so same.
All right. So
Yeah.
that means, though. Okay, so the first to watch would be Carnelian. Who would take second watch?
I can take it.
Okay.
I'm going to say as well, after Carnelian's experience and Wodun's reflection in the last episode of like how things are getting close to the end, he thinks he's just going to stay up for probably half an hour and make sure Carnelian's like actually okay, and just sort of, be laying down like he's going to bed, but just sort of keeping an eye on him, make sure he's like he is only taking the watch just to retune, and he's not like sort of dealing with anything heavier.
Sure.
Carnelian is in shock, but this like maintenance of his instrument is like
Soothing.
soothing. It is a good way to. He would be a lot worse if Svieta didn't have mending available.
Yeah, true.
Essentially.
Alright, and then Wodun's going to go off to sleep after that.
So Carnelian sits down. I assume you still have like a fire going. Maybe beside the fire, everyone is laying around. You've got the old tent that you pilfered. Well, not pilfered. You took with you and mended. So I don't know if all of you are in the tent or if all of you are laying out and about. But Carnelian, you hear just every so often the picking strums of someone, tuning an instrument and making sure it just sounds pitch perfect. Carnelian's watch passes, and all you really hear are the lapping sounds of frosted waves against the shore. In a couple hours, you go to wake Svieta up.
Yep.
And Svieta begins her watch. Time passes. Svieta then goes to wake Wodun, or who's last actually? Wodun or Horacio?
I'd probably go last if that's alright.
Yep, no worries.
Pretty tired.
Wodun wakes up. You've only had a few hours sleep really because you were staying up to listen out for...
Only for like half an hour it was, yeah.
Yeah, but it was already late by the time you guys went to bed.
Yeah, true.
So, I mean, that exhaustion must also be playing on you guys, even though you're not in the same spot where you were, where you're pushing yourself for days on end. It's still exhausting. As your watch begins, are you doing anything during your watch?
I guess just sitting by the fire, keeping warm,
Keeping warm.
brushing his hair slowly.
Did he borrow that from Valine?
Yeah. Took it from Valine's things because it's a nice brush.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
She has nice things.
He's eyeing off the mascara again, like, someday I'll be brave enough.
I thought you were wearing the mascara.
No, I didn't end up putting any on.
Oh, okay. You're brushing your hair, like the beautiful Disney princess that you are.
Thank you.
And you're just looking out into the ocean. And what you see is, like, it's starting to get to the early morning. There's not light yet, but there's sort of enough playing from the ending tendrils of the aurora. And I think we established it was like a gibbous, waxing or waning gibbous moon.
Waning gibbous.
Waning gibbous, I think it was. That you do see at least a little bit out into the ocean. And in the darkness, you think you see some shapes. Like something breaches the surface ever so briefly. And then when you try and focus on it, it just disappears back under the water. That happens for maybe about only 10 minutes. But then it doesn't resurface again.
Wodun's going to readjust. So he's got his back to the fire and his front to the water. So he can, like, so the fire's not sort of obscuring his vision so he can see a bit better. And he's just going to, like, laser focused on the water now.
the rest of your watch, nothing else breaches the surface that you're not expecting. But it was certainly something out there in the water. Seemed to be playing around in the cove for a short period of time.
Did it sound like multiple things, or one big thing, or...?
You couldn't... I mean, it looked like one big thing, like one big shape. At the end of that, you then go and wake Horacio for the final couple hours of watch.
Horacio.
Praise Gullible.
Yes, praise Gullible. There might be something in the ocean. Just keep your eye on it.
Okay.
It hasn't moved in a little while now, but it might... I don't know, it might still be there. Just keep an eye out.
I will do that. I'll just head back to the fire looking out over the water. Actually, before you go to sleep, which part?
Over there, when I point to where I heard it.
I see.
In the cove, basically.
Okay.
Where you are. Wodun goes to sleep. Horatio, you spend the last couple of hours keeping an eye out where Wodun was speaking to, but you don't see anything. And eventually, the perpetual dawn light spills out over the island where you are, and it's morning.
Was there anything in the water? Did you see anything?
No, I spent my watch checking and waiting, but nothing. I didn't see a thing.
I wonder if maybe Angajuk was checking in on us, seeing if we're ready.
Hopefully, maybe we can ask him. I'm sure his knowledge of these waters is far exceeds our own.
Hopefully Sveta's still got some fish. I'm pretty hungry after last night.
I believe she got 14, so I imagine she's still got one or two.
She did catch a lot.
Sveta, are you awake?
Why are you awake before me? She'll wake
I
up.
was seeing if you had fish.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Alright, you can go back to sleep if you want.
No.
I'm going to go do some yoga.
I'm awake now.
Beautiful beach. I'd be a fool to miss this opportunity.
Well, I will put the fish on and watch you. And Savannah will rub some sleep out of her eyes and go over to the fire and just slap some fish down on some sticks and over the fire.
Do one of those big cat stretches and the tail goes dead straight and the hair goes up.
She'll do her own version of a downward dog, but it's really perfect.
The downward cat.
The downward cat.
Upwards cat. Just like the top part of a
Become the letter N.
what do they call the it's like camel and something, the one where you arch your back, then you
Concave and...
but you're on all fours and you arch your back up.
Oh, cat cows.
Cat cows.
Yeah.
Like that.
You like that?
Dog cows or dog cows? Okay.
Cat cats. I might actually join Wodun
Oh,
Sveta will watch
for a bit of
intently.
yoga.
the yoga, Pilates, Tai Chi class is in session.
Yeah, it's been a while. But I'm feeling good about things. I think clear of purpose, so he's going to go for it and help clear his mind a bit more.
Carnelian, you wake to the smell of cooking fish and the sounds of grunting men? Question mark?
How do you hold it so long? My legs are killing me.
Practice, Horatio.
I assume that the sound of grunting men is the usual early morning sound of this adventuring party.
Everyone's awake. You get breakfast sorted from the abundance of fish that you caught. And pretty soon, you wake Valine. She gets ready as well. You pack up your tents. You pack down your campsite. And very soon, in the cove, just before the shore, a huge mass of a whale breaches the surface. Are you ready to go?
Yes, we're filled with omega-3 and we're ready.
Omega-3 is the best of the omegas.
I reckon you're pretty rich in that, hey? And I'll wink at him.
That's less funny.
That's less fun.
Hilarious.
He eats a lot of tuna.
Hey, Wodun, maybe it's worth mentioning what you saw. Maybe Angajuk knows something about it.
Yeah, Angajuk, were you checking in on us last night? Were you splashing around out there?
I'm never too far from the tourist group.
Oh, good. Well, did you see anything nearby on the in the cove over there, or?
He turns around so his eye is looking at Carnelian and is like, I saw a brave but foolish kobold fall from the sky. Now do you see why I don't like the bird?
I mean, the bird wasn't the problem, but yes, I understand why people don't like the bird.
Or is it just birds in general?
A bird is too big.
Yes, the bird's not far too big.
Couldn't agree more.
What about the shapes in the other surface? Did you see anything near the surface? Did you sense anything large?
I patrol. Maybe it was me. But I can't see everywhere in these waters. Something could have slipped by.
Of course, we just thought we'd check.
Would you mind checking underwater now? Can you see in there now?
And he just sinks below the surface.
Great, now Rad's gone.
Sorry, I'm sure he'll be back. Can I have another fish?
Here you go. And she just, in her pocket, she'll just, like, take one out.
Ooh. Brushes some, like, fluff off of it
Yeah.
from your pocket.
It'll be fine.
Pocket fish.
Pocket fish.
It's lined with leather, so
Oh.
it's fine.
Okay, that's better.
Good moves today.
Thanks. I was doing a new thing where, just to get a little bit of extra vitality out of my positions, I was allowing my toes to dip into the Arctic water, and it really sent a charge through my body. I feel great today. Reinvigorated, yes.
I think you reheated your toes by the fire.
Yes,
funny
they're
you should-
very cold.
It's funny you should mention that you felt more as a result of putting my toes in the water. I felt nothing at all. My feet went numb. It wasn't very good, but I still felt quite refreshed.
That's because you need to work on your breathing. Your blood flow could improve. I could feel it. You were holding your breath when you were doing your more advanced positions. You need to focus on your breathing, and you can work through it.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. I've always had an
I'll
issue
show
with blood
you
pressure.
next time.
Okay.
I'm also imagining you both have frostbite on your feet.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention I still can't feel my feet.
Actually, I don't have any toes anymore.
Oh shit. Oh yeah, I can't feel my toes. That's because you ain't got none.
After about 15 minutes or so, Ungajuk breaches the surface. I couldn't see anything out of the ordinary. But as we approach the isle, it is worth being cautious.
How far have we got to go?
By the end of today, we should arrive.
Do you know a good landing spot? We don't want to sort of turn up on the beach right in front of her. We want to...
There are not many places to land. The isle is sheer cliffs most of the way around, and there are shipwrecks everywhere around of foolish sailors who have attempted to make landfall. But I know of an ancient dock I can take you to.
Turning a little skinny there.
I don't even think he's fully awake yet.
Underskeen is here!
No.
Pulls out of the bubble. Oh!
I told you I was a high-level druid!
Oh no! Holy shit!
I'm joining you for this part of the adventure! Could you imagine if it's like, well, I'm feeling sick today, so my brother Anguskeen will take you the rest of the week.
Oh fuck!
Just gonna put like a towel on his nose so he drowns.
God.
One weakness. Towels to the hole.
Blowhole. That's
The funny thing is like where the boat's positioned, it would be right over the blowhole as well, so I don't know how that works. I guess the bubble also covers where the hole is so he can
We're
breathe
just
underwater.
breathing his breath all day.
Yeah, that's all right.
Do we just get, like, splashed occasionally?
It's like, you just hear this, and you're like, oh god, not again.
He would drain that bubble of oxygen so quick.
I think it's a magic bubble that keeps refreshing. So I mean,
It's
Don't worry about that.
It's probably like that air bubble spell
Yeah.
that they added to.
but like it's massive, and it's like the ship on his back is pretty huge. So you're not really. I mean, you're a bit cramped in there because you've got a lot of staff and a lot of people. But yeah.
Angerjuk, just a question.
Yes.
Just while you're warming up there, I just have a question for the party. I mean, weren't we we're going to approach as Oriel ascends? Is that the plan? So that we force her hand, so we're going to approach while she's up in the air? Is that the idea?
So, I think, having had some time to think last night, I think we should do some reconnaissance initially. But if we are to actually go and acquire the book and the talisman, the bauble, the spellcasting focus in the book,
Something of white?
the book,
No, Codicil.
the Codicil of White, yeah, and I forget what the other one was. That we should do that as she's leaving, because that way she has to choose between casting the Aurora and confronting us.
Exactly.
But I think initially when we get there, we should spend some time looking around sneakily, or as sneakily as we can be, so that way we can have a good idea of where we're going. Because she doesn't appear to be out for very long either way, so she might just decide to go out, cast the spell, and then immediately come back to us.
And if she chooses not to come back, we'll want to know where the items are so we can get in and get out quickly.
Yeah.
That is true. We'll have to be extra stealthy, though, because I'm almost certain that she'll be aware of our approach. But I don't feel we have much of a choice.
We are sadly not the stealthiest crew, but we will make do. We'll make the.
Do our darndest.
We can prep some higher level invisibility spells, like a third level invisibility from each of us to
maybe.
to do it.
Maybe.
And
Sorry, maybe Valine might have some kind of invisibility scroll. Valine? Yes, we're ready. Come on.
Why is it so early? Let me just check my wizard spellbook.
do you need a frappe?
She's probably got something in there.
A frappe would be fantastic, actually, Carnelian.
Lactose free, or you good?
Oh no, I think full lactose, please.
You sure? We're going to be in the bubble for a while.
That's your problem, not mine. On my spell list, it doesn't appear that I have an invisibility spell, unfortunately.
She's a necromancer, not an illusionist. She gets a pass.
So surprised that Valine's not contributing again.
Jesus, that's so mean.
I said that quietly.
Well, guess we set out. It'll still take up most of the day to get there, right?
Yes.
At this rate, it'll take probably until tomorrow.
So, you all board Angerjuk. Yes?
We got a
Yes.
long rest there, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can mark long
Wait,
rest.
Okay, cool.
But I would
Get
say
your
that
board.
continuing to have more watches like that, if you have too many in a row, you might start suffering exhaustion levels because you're not getting quite as much sleep as you probably should because you're up late with the...
That high quality sleep.
So, I'm going to not have an effect at this stage, but yeah, if you keep doing stuff like that, that's going to have an impact.
I don't want to make a habit out of last night.
200 feet up.
Casting your highest level spell, being hundreds of feet in the air, and then not having a recourse if you get...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
My biggest
Look,
drop.
I was debating at the start of the game to take if I should take
Featherfall?
Featherfall,
Yeah.
because more limited than a wizard in my spell choices, and I was just like,
Will
it's Icewind Dale. How much falling am I going to do? Turns out,
So much.
Turns out there's giant rocks. There were griffins somewhere in Icewind Dale you could have fallen off. There are big tall mountains, and there is an alien spaceship you probably could have fallen out of
there
at
was
some
also
point.
a hole that went all the way down to the Underdark.
Yeah, there's definitely a falling danger, I think.
Yeah, I nearly fell off into a ravine at that little
Oh
hut.
yeah, the Black Cavern as well.
What's his name? Macretus's hut.
Macretus,
Yeah.
a part of the hut fell off into the
True.
cliff.
That is true.
It wouldn't have been useless, but I feel like the 4 times tops maybe
I
not
know.
justify the permanent spell that I would have had to learn.
I would have to say at least twice there was a very real chance of permadeath in those situations. So, I mean...
Well, the trap that the kobolds set,
Yeah.
the creaky place at Macretus's hut,
Which, yeah.
and then just
This
now.
just now, yeah. Yeah. All right.
Onward.
So, once again, you're all boarded onto Angajuk, and he backs out of the cove. Beep, beep, beep.
I've got 2 questions, but please carry on.
Is it for Angajuk, or
Yeah.
he starts sinking into the waves like, you had some questions for me.
Yes, first question, why do you have a beeper? And the second question, why are you using it when it's like an empty ocean?
The ocean is not as empty as you think. I've hit plenty of narwhals in my time, and let me tell you, they're a pain in the ass.
Road rules are road rules.
Road
It doesn't matter
rules.
how many people are on the road.
Yeah,
Look, once your vehicle
3
is-
times is reverse on the ocean.
Once your vehicle is a certain size, you must have a beeper when you're reversing.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I think your long, what do they call it? The oversized sign fell off the back.
Are you calling me fat?
No, you're just very large.
Isn't that the same thing? And is
Sperm whales are like 95% body fat.
so you are.
It'd be complimentary then, right?
I'm very warm. Okay, so Angajuk sinks below the waves. Do you have any other questions for Angajuk as this, like, because he's just going to start taking you underwater. Unlike the previous days, he doesn't seem to be taking you to any specific locations.
Does he know to take us to where we want to go?
He said he knew like a little hidden cove.
Ancient dock.
How
Doc, yeah.
how long will it take?
Will take us to this afternoon.
Angajuk, what's the approach like for the dock? Like, once we get to this ancient dock you speak of, what are we expecting? Are we in for a climb? Is there a secret tunnel or something?
We'll always be ready for a climb at the island of Solstice. It is mostly snow and ice, sheer cliffs, and ice stairs.
I'm glad we
Angajuk
bought that
cooked today.
snowwalking equipment.
Sorry, what was that, Tim?
I'm sorry, I said Angajuk's cooked today.
I can't remember the voice I've been doing.
It was
on the beach last night.
I'm pretty sure it was always just like Finding Nemo, like Dory Whale voice based. So
I'm really hungover today.
There's a hint of Sven the narwhal in there, I think.
So he starts taking you under the waves, and every so often you breach the surface. He doesn't really need to, as we've established with the air bubble, really breach the surface himself, but he seems to be breaching mostly so he can sort of take in a couple landmarks around as well, and sort of, you just see him sort of breach for a little bit. He doesn't seem to be breathing hard or anything. He's just sort of looking around, and then he ducks back under the waves. As the day progresses, though, you find that every time you breach, which is not often, but every time you breach, there is more of that fog in the air. You felt little wisps of it in the cove where you were, but it gets denser and denser the later you get through the day. Until the last time that you breach, the fog is pretty much complete. We are getting close now. I'd advise caution.
What do you mean by that? Like, we need to be quiet?
I'm not a quiet thing, but keep your eyes peeled.
I will do that. Have you got your drift globe?
Oh, yes, of course, thanks, I definitely do.
It is really difficult. Any light that you make, whether it's through the drift globe, whether it's through torches, whether it's through a light spell, does only have a limited penetration through the very thick fog that's obscuring everything around you.
That drift globe was a really good find in that sunken ship.
Ungajuk dives back under the surface from the thick fog, and you can see now he's not moving nearly as quick as he was before. And after, 10, 15 minutes or so, you start seeing that he is very slowly and cautiously peeking his way near the bottom of the sea floor. Your drift globe is sort of illuminating a little bit, and you can see he makes sharp turns all of a sudden as things loom out of the dark depths. There are many different rocks and sort of reefs that are unexpected, and they sort of pop up at sharp angles. If you didn't know where you were going in a ship, it's very likely you would be gashing a huge hole in your hull. Eventually, Ungajuk breaches the surface once more, and what you find is a little bit unexpected. The fog that was hanging thick in the air has cleared. Before you can see the sheer cliffs of what looks like... Have you ever seen the photos of the Arctic where they've got those just sheer ice walls as things break off? It's like that.
Like a shelf, ice shelf.
It's like, yeah, exactly. It's an ice shelf. And you can just sort of see this extending out to, to both sides of you, of this kind of shape that juts out into the sea. And anyone that looks behind you, what you see is also strange. You can see a wall of fog that just starts at a certain point and must move outwards from there. Almost like the island is being kept artificially clear itself.
Like an eye of a hurricane zone.
Yeah, it's not a bad description. Although there's no gale force winds, it is almost like a clear eye. And you would guess that if you had to come by boat, unless you had a captain that knew exactly what they were doing and this area like the back of their hand, there is a good chance you would have wrecked on either the sunken rocks or the exposed rocks just from the fog. In fact, as you look out to your to the left of you, so west, you can see two broken boats that look like they're beached on some exposed rock. This is why I advise caution. There are many dangers approaching the island of Solstice. But here, I can take you ashore.
Is there, so from where the boats are, how far out from the actual shoreline are there? And is the shoreline sort of frozen and icy, or is it still in water?
The boats that you can see are beached on rocks that are maybe about 200 feet from a sheer ice shelf cliff wall. And then it kind of curves to make almost like a little cove itself, but it's not a cove that's a beach, it's a sheer ice wall again, all the way around. It's like it's sort of this big carved out shelf. And then the rocks that they're on are hundreds of feet from the furthest point. But to land, there's about 200 feet either side. Ungajuk seems to be steering away from that and moving more to the northeast.
I wonder if it's worth checking out those boats, see if there's anything on there. Or maybe they could serve as our base of operations, perhaps, while we're here. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, it depends how badly they're wrecked, if we can even stand on it. It might just be bits of wood just crashed over a rock. But maybe it's worth a quick look, I suppose, at the time.
I can take you either to the dock or some shipwrecks. It's up to you.
We probably do have the time. What are we expecting to find on one of the shipwrecks?
I don't know. Maybe they had like adventuring gear. Maybe they have equipment that we could use, or...
They would have come here for the sole purpose of this
Exploring, yeah.
place, so maybe they left something there.
Exactly, and regardless, it might help us burn a little bit of time, because we probably don't need this much time to scout, right? I mean, we only want maybe a couple of hours to do our scouting, so any extra time that we have here is more time that we need to remain hidden.
Well, we don't know how big the place is.
We don't, but I still feel we have a quick look at the like?
Well, yeah, it's not like we can take a quick... It's not like we can scout and then take a quick look, so we might as well take the report first and then...
Maybe I'll just zip over there quickly and see if it's worth investigating.
I will take you past where the intent to drop you off on land is, and then you can decide where you wish to go, as I will be leaving you here. So if you decide to go on a shipwreck, you'll need to make your way to the dock.
Will you come back tomorrow morning to pick us up, or...?
I can check in every day at this time to see if you're ready to leave.
Thank you very much.
Okay. We're forever in your debt, Angajuk.
You're welcome.
I'll make sure the story includes you in a very favourable light.
Very kind of you, little lizard. Here, let me show you the dock. And he starts moving further forward to the north, and you see the following. The fog through which you've been travelling thins enough to see 50-foot-high cliffs of solid ice ahead. Jutting out from the water off the coast are bare, weather-beaten masts of sunken ships. Ahead, you can make out what appears to be a partially shattered dock carved out of ice. As you get closer, it becomes obvious that the dock was made for giants.
It's a big dock.
Huge.
I suppose it's big for you. I always thought it's as the size a dock should be.
Have you seen a lot of giants come through here?
Not for some time. Giants once made this place their home, but not anymore.
Oh my goodness, this castle's going to be enormous.
Oh boy,
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, if it was giant made.
How do we open the doors?
Maybe
With
we
these
climb,
guys,
Oh, of
tenses his
course.
biceps.
bring some rope and pittons and...
We'll make it work. Well, thank you, Angajuk. Thanks again.
Do you wish to be dropped off at the dock or at one of the wrecks?
Docks, I think we can make our way back. If we're all stuck at the wrecks, we might be a little screwed.
Perhaps just take me to the Rex, and I can find my own way back to the dock.
Alright, you can fly.
Yes, I can.
Okay. Docks first or wreck first, is what I would ask.
I guess maybe drop these. I don't know. What do you reckon?
If you're going to go scout, then I'd say take us to the dogs.
Yeah, we're going to Angajuk doesn't have to wait around.
Okay.
So drop me off first, and then you guys to the docks, and then he can leave, and I'll get my way back. Because if I cast the fly spell, I've got 10 minutes,
Yeah.
and if I fly there, explore,
Yeah.
that might be like I might need to use a second to get back. Even though it's a short rest, I don't want to.
Yeah, of course.
Don't want to risk the slot.
Yep.
Oh, actually, before we leave you, let me just cast water breathing. Just in case you slip.
Oh, how much is Sanctuary for?
That's only for a minute.
Oh, okay.
But the water breathing, you can cast it on for basically everyone here.
Yeah, as a ritual, and it lasts for a day.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So,
It's such a nice,
Right.
ritual, lasts all day.
Yeah.
Why can't we get more spells like that?
They
because
should be.
it's one of the few things that druids can get, and then they don't have to concentrate on it.
I love spells like that, especially as they get higher level. It's like not going to be a combat spell, it's like a utility spell, but you don't want to be like, oh, I have a spell slot for this. It's great.
Do you want... so I can do this for you, just in case you fall into the water, which I hope not. Do you want me to also cast water walking on you? Or do you think you'd be fine?
I think I'll be fine.
Okay.
Wait, how many spell slots have you just used?
Well, these will be rituals.
Oh, okay, easy, yeah.
So I can do both, because water walking will last an hour.
Actually, yeah, well, I guess in case I have to use my the rest of my magic for the day, I can, or for the period, I can walk back.
And as we've learned, make sure you're very careful about flying with concentration spells.
Alright, well, be willing.
Be willing.
Willing.
I love how that's your catchphrase now. Please, be willing.
Well, it's just for willing creatures that she just gets nervous over some spells.
Stop resisting.
So I'll cast both water breathing and water walking in their own respective ritual timeframes. I'll just cast it on everyone.
May as well.
And politely asking everyone to be willing for both, because it requires willing creatures.
I accept, Svieta.
Thank
Let
you.
me have it.
And
I'll
it'll,
take some of that water walking as well.
oh, of course, Villine.
Oh, thank you.
And it'll just be like just auras of like blue water around everyone
Oh.
for both, like a nice chill.
Ooh. Despite me not being able to feel my toes, this is still pleasantly cool.
Do you want me to cast bonfire on your toes to defrost
Oh,
them?
no, I've seen that in action. I think we're okay with that. Thank you. I'll live.
Are we off of?
So,
Unbridge-
I'm going to say that you do this as you approach the dock,
Okay.
and then all of those who are going to step off of the dock, which is everyone except for Wodun, steps off of Angajuk as he sort of sidles up to this giant dock, and basically, like the head where the boat is just lines up to the dock, and you can just step right out onto it.
I'm going to give him one last hug.
Oh, it's so nice.
Thank you.
Oh, so kind, little druid.
You are so kind as well.
I have only one bit of advice for you, if you wish for it.
Sure, I'm all ears.
Look after your heart. It is something very important to living things. Make sure your heart does not go cold as the winter, lest you turn into something like a real.
For you, I will try my best.
That's the only thing you can ask of anyone. Good luck, everyone.
Thank you, Angajuk,
Thank
and
you,
farewell.
I'll see you guys back here soon.
Yeah, you take care, Wodun. If you need anything,
Shout real loud.
shout real loud.
Or just, oh yeah, you should be too
Yeah,
far
for-
away from your slug.
Do you have thaumaturgy?
I do have thaumaturgy.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Hell
200
yeah.
feet's not a very long way, though.
Huh?
200 feet's not a very long way.
But it's outside of the telepathy range.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, if he's shouting.
yeah.
Oh, no, yeah. You can hear a shouting person 200 feet away.
Especially across water.
Yeah.
In the cold as well.
Especially when Angajuk backs up from the dock. Beep, 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 beep.
So much for stealth.
Oh, that's literally what I was going to say.
What was that? I missed it.
We're both going to say so much for stealth.
I'm not stealthy. Beep, beep. Okay, so
What are you talking about? That's normal whale
He
sounds.
resumes making the beat himself.
he doesn't sink back into the water, but he does turn around in a long arc heading for the shipwreck. And it takes a couple minutes. Again, you can see that he's not moving particularly quickly, and every so often he does stop and seem to take a wide arc around something that you can't see. The only thing you can really assume, based on your experience, it's more underwater hazards that might be coming up a lot shallower than you are actually expecting. But eventually, Wodun, you are delivered to the dock.
Okay, so before I step off Angajuk, does it, like Horacio was saying, does it look like these docks are gonna, or these shipwrecks are gonna sort of support my weight, or does it look like there could be possibly anything here?
I have to roll a d8.
Okay.
Okay, so you arrive at the shipwreck, and it looks to you, as you're approaching, you can see at the hull of the ship is beached on some very shallow rocks. Like you can just see the edges of the rocks that have, caught the hull of the boat. It looks to be largely intact though, like someone's just beached it and been unable to really move it. And the damage to the top deck as you arrive seems relatively superficial. Most of it is age. You come from Luskan, right? Mm-hmm. You're not really a sailor. You're not really a sailor per se, but you're very used to seeing, boats going in and out of the the Luskan harbour. And you think that, like, if just taking a quick look around, like, there's holes in the sail, like, you know, the sail's been, like, basically torn away. But you'd think that if you could get something rigged up, you could probably salvage this boat if you could somehow get it off the rocks. It's otherwise largely intact.
Well, Angajuk, thank you again for being our ferryman. Much appreciated, and just saying this in case we don't see you tomorrow. Do you have any final tips for me? Svieta got the heart thing. Do I get anything?
Ooh, I would say to you this. Darkness is useful. Sometimes we cloak ourselves in it to hide the things that we wish to not see and help us progress through our day-to-day lives. But don't rely on it. Shed that cloak, for if you let the darkness consume your heart, it will be poisoned.
Shit, that was deep, man. Cool.
I've been told I can be quite deep.
Alright, well, thanks again. And he taps his snowshoes just to make sure, just to double check in his own, or to I guess enforce in his mind that he's got his snowshoes on. Takes a few deep breaths and leaps from Angajuk onto the deck.
You leap to the deck and land. It's pretty straight, so I don't think you'll need to do any kind of acrobatics or athletics roll. It's a pretty easy jump. And you turn around and you can see Angajuk, and he goes, "Be careful and good luck," as he starts to sink away from the ship.
And he turns around and has a look around. Are there bodies? Does it look like the ship was abandoned, or they took their stuff with them? What am I looking at?
Where you are right now, you can see an intact deck of a ship. You can see what looks to be errant rigging and seafaring equipment. But there doesn't appear to be any bodies or skeletons. Maybe the crew that beached themselves on this rock tried to make their way landfall. You know the dock is not too far from here. Perhaps they were able to deploy a longship or something like that. You don't see any additional boats, for example. So it's entirely possible maybe they got out. But also just as much, maybe they didn't. You can't really say from here because all you can really see is just cleaner than you would expect, but, a bit haphazard deck that rises in the front to the prow, and at the aft of the ship you can see what looks to be a wheel that has had a couple of the notches taken out from the spokes.
Yeah.
A couple of them are just sort of worn down or broken off. Otherwise it seems to be intact.
Okay. He's going to summon his spear and sort of use it as a walking stick in case any of the floor's slippery, and he'll proceed to head down to the deck or the whatever downstairs.
So what happens is you head to there's a couple different ways you could head downstairs. There is a sort of little, in the deck of a ship in the middle, sometimes there's an opening where you can sort of take cargo in and out directly from the hull, and that's covered over with some sort of wooden grate that disappears into the darkness below. At the fore of the ship where the prow is, there's two entrances that looks like they might lead into the ship and then head down, and then in the aft of the ship there's also two entrances as well, next to some stairs.
Okay. I'm going to walk over to that grate thing.
Mm-hmm.
And is there anything around I can cast light on and throw into the hole?
Yeah, I would say that it's as I said, there's a bit of a haphazard.
Even like a piece of ice or something.
Yeah, there's definitely something that you would be able to do that.
Alright, I will.
You cast light on a little, I'm going to say a pulley that's come loose, right? And you drop it in through the grate. And as you drop it, the light drops very quickly and then, very, very, in very short order, maybe only like a foot from the edge of the grate, completely disappears.
Very suspicious. Like, did it seem like magical darkness?
Maybe. Do you want to make an Arcana check?
Yes. Oh, nat 20, baby!
Hell yeah.
For a 23.
Some sort of darkness spell could counter light. Sufficient levels of, like, when you're looking at darkness and light countering each other, the higher level spell will always counter out the other one. So, potentially, you've got some sort of darkness spell at work here, or some sort of darkness effect. But it certainly seems magical.
Should I go down there? I don't know.
Yeah, no. Give the listeners what they want.
Alright. I'll head over to the... Did you say there's a stairway down?
So there's two, on both sides of the ship, there's two stairways that lead either to the prow or to the aft of the ship. And there are there's two doors on just next to those stairways. You would assume they might lead into the decks below.
Alright. So I've dark...
Question mark?
I'm pretty sure I do. Yeah, I do.
And devil eyes.
So I'm going to spear at the ready, shield out. I'll proceed downstairs.
So you open the door, I'd imagine, first.
Yeah.
Is that in the aft or the fore of the ship?
Oh, no, never mind. The aft.
Okay, so you head to the aft of the ship and you open one of the doors. And the first thing you can see immediately is almost like a wall of darkness in front of you. You can't see past that wall. I believe, if I remember correctly, a certain spell that this does draw from, and I will double check, even if you have dark vision, that won't help you in this particular case of magical darkness. A creature with dark vision can't see through this darkness.
Okay. Wodun is going to sort of like, I guess, poke the tip of his spear just into the darkness and make sure it's not like a solid wall or anything, just to double check that.
The spear dips into the darkness in front of you, and its head disappears.
Okay. Alright, here we go. And he looks where he's assuming the floor is through the darkness, about 10 feet in front of him, and he will bring his spear hand and his shield hand together, and a blinding white light will appear inside the room, which is the daylight spell.
Ooh.
Cool.
At 4th level, because that's all I got, baby.
Whoa. Oh yeah, because your warlock things, everything's maxed.
Nope, it's 3rd level. My bad.
Yeah, because it's
I think
not
that's how
tied
it
to
works.
your warlock. It's the innate ability of the
Yep.
celestial bloodline, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, so yeah, 3rd level.
You step into the darkness, and the first thing that happens...
Hey, I didn't say that.
Oh, sorry, I thought you did.
No. I'm staying outside, but I want to cast it into the darkness.
Okay. Read my description.
Sucker!
You step forward and begin to cast your spell. And from the opening, that dark portal, you hear something. And you cast your spell, and bright light floods the area right in front of you. So bright it burns away the darkness, and as it does so, you hear this loud screech, this many voices crying out as your ears are almost deafened by the ear-piercing screech. And it says, find out next week on Reflex!
Oh, I've done it now.
Of course. What a funny thing to say.
What does he mean?
How did they do that? They just had recorded someone doing like a couple variations of a sound.
And Grant Kirkhope just recorded himself. Like, any voice in Banjo-Kazooie 1 and 2 is Grant Kirkhope's voice that he's just fucked with.
Yeah. And he's just going like, and then just cut them together really short. So it's like,
Yeah.
There you go, the full creative process.
Yeah.
That was good.
Hey everybody, my name is Jeff, and I run the Big Campaign Stories podcast. Our story focuses on 4 people working at a repo company, trying to keep afloat among a corporate dystopia and crushing debt. The world is one that we have been playing in and working on for a long time. The current homebrew setting is played with Pathfinder 1st Edition rules, but with more of a modern feel to it. Think something like Blade Runner or Snow Crash, but with magic. We try to release every Thursday, and when we cannot, we come up with small side episodes focusing on each character to help expand the world and lore. So, if you like greasy breakfasts, people trying to pay bills, and the occasional Lovecraftian monster, give us a listen. Alright, thanks.